Hi guys, welcome back. This is By the Book and we are your married relationship coaches. Today we're going to talk about a trending dating term. It's not like a brand new dating term. I've been hearing it for a few years actually. But I think it's worthwhile to talk about breadcrumbing. If you've heard of breadcrumbing, let us know. Put it in the comments. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about it. I bet you my husband hadn't heard about it until I brought it up.
Never heard about it before until you brought it up. I'm so far removed from these things. It's like a whole new world.
It's a legitimate term. Okay, like there's a million dating terms out there that I don't like. I just looked online and it's honestly ridiculous how many there are. Breadcrumbing though is one that I feel like is legit, and I think we see it time and time again, ladies. I like to call breadcrumbing Mr. Barely Enough. Just enough. That's who you're dating. Is someone who gives just enough effort to keep you on the hook, never quite lets you go, so you can't fully move on or move away from him, but he's not doing enough to keep you satisfied in any way. So I made a list. And we're going to talk about the top 9 ways to identify a breadcrumber.
Okay,
y'all ready?
So we're going to help women on to game.
Basically.
Yeah. So if you getting this game ran on you, we're about to break it down to you as far as what to look for when this game. So hey, it's a game, so you've seen it unfold. So let's roll.
All right. So babe, you brought this first one up, and so our number 1 way to recognize a breadcrumber is that he only sends you text messages. Oh. You can only have text message communication with this guy, right? But why?
Why? Because, he's doing other things. He's just basically doing just enough to keep you on the hook. And so a text message, he sent communication. You can't say he didn't communicate with you. So he did do that, but it wasn't a conversation, a verbal conversation. It wasn't time really invested. It was a 3-second message that he sent to you that said, hey, I'm thinking about you. And that was it.
And he really, he's thinking enough to send that message, but he ain't really thinking about you, because just think about it. He could have sent good morning beautiful to 45 different women, So if he can't take the time personally to speak to you on the phone, then you might be getting breadcrumbed. Number 2 is that he's not available on your terms, right? You're free. You don't work on Friday. You got time for a date, get ready, get your nails, get your hair done, all of this good stuff, and you want to go out with your guy. Well, maybe he ain't really your guy, but you want to go out on a date with this guy, with Mr. Breadcrumber, Mr. Barely Enough. And you tell him your availability, and he's like, oh, well, I'll see. But he's not available. He's never available on your terms when you can be ready. But you need to jump at the chance when he's available. When he says, oh, I got Wednesday night free. You got to work. You're going to be tired in the morning on Thursday. But he expects you to jump through those hoops for him on his time frame.
Yeah, he's always going to have something going on. This whole conversation is going to happen through text message pretty much. So, it's going to be, well, I had to take care of my mom. Well, I'll have to work late. Well, it's always going to be some type of excuse, but that's on his part, the way he can't fulfill a date with you. He's not going to, like my wife just said, he's not going to come when you're available.
Never on your terms.
It's just never on your terms. Yeah.
Okay, so number 3, he goes missing for unreasonable periods of time. So we can pretty much expect, if we're dating someone, at the very least, you expect to see them once a week, right? Yeah. You synchronize off days or whatever the case may be. You see him once a week, at least. I'll see you on Saturday. Yeah. But he won't see you every Saturday. He'll go missing for 3 Saturdays in a row. And why is that, babe?
Well, 9 times out of 10, he's fulfilling his duties with someone else. So he's unavailable, for whatever the case may be, but you're going to get the excuse of why he can't, you know. And so it's always something. It's somebody sick. He has to take care of his kid. He had to drive somebody somewhere else. So he's going to fall off the map. He's going to disappear for chunks of time. And then, you're going to get the excuse after.
Yeah, and then he's gonna come back all of a sudden like he didn't miss a beat. That's why that's also part of that.
Yeah.
Him and his availability, and you got to be on his time. But what you just said, babe, leads me into number 4, which is that he has dramatic excuses for his lack of availability. So you kind of led into that, talking about, oh, I got to do something for my mom. You know, he'll have a grandma that died 3 times because he's got to have something extreme. So you can't pin him down and be like, hey, you were supposed to call me. We were supposed to go out. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody can fuss at somebody who grandma died, especially 3 times.
3 times.
So so he's slippery like an eel. You can't quite pin him down on anything. Mm-hmm. And that's our number 4. Was that number 4 or 5? That was number 4. Mm-hmm. Signs of a breadcrumber. Number 5 is that he cancels a lot of dates. He cancels all the time. So even though you're functioning on his terms.
Yeah. You set a date with him. You think you finally got him. And then it's something that pops up. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that does sound like a breadcrumb.
The 4th death of Granny. You know, so yeah, he's got other obligations basically. And you're an afterthought. And so if something better comes up, something more important comes up, and he just don't want to be bothered, he's going to cancel on you. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Number 6 is that dates are kept late, and they usually revolve around sex. Okay? So when he is available, it's because, you know, he's able to call you and get out at 11 p.m. Y'all can't really go to no restaurants. At least, I mean, not where we are. Everything is closed by 9 or 10 o'clock. So you can't really go on a legitimate date. You can hook up with them. You can go to a hotel or something like that. And that's another thing. This is not on my list, but you can't go to his house either. Remember that. That's a bonus one. That's number 10. You got anything on that one, babe?
No, that's pretty much self-explanatory. That's pretty much done.
Okay. Number 7, he avoids conversations about the dating direction. And by that, of course, I mean the dreaded conversations. A lot of men don't like to have this, but the breadcrumber, he ain't going to give it to you. He's not going to give you the time of day to talk about, where is this relationship going? Where do you see us? Are we together? Are we exclusive? Are you my boyfriend? Am I your girlfriend? He's not going to have those conversations.
Not at
He's
all.
going to, the phone is going to start, he's going to start crumbling up some paper in the phone and be like, oh, we got a bad connection. That's if you ever get him on the phone. Or, yeah, he's just not going to entertain that conversation. There will be one way or another that he kicks that can way down the road and says, oh, you know, I like you a lot. We'll have that conversation later. And it never comes.
Yeah. Or, again, he's just going to, not only is he just going to try to avoid the conversation, but he's probably going to disappear again. And then when he finally pops back up, hopefully you don't want to have that conversation anymore.
Hopefully you forgot about it, or that served as a deterrent to you. You know, I ain't gonna bring that up because the last time he went missing for a month.
The last thing a breadcrumber wants to do is to get nailed down. You know, he doesn't want to define anything. He doesn't want to have a conversation about defining anything and becoming exclusive in any type of way, you know, any shape or form. So, yeah, telltale sign.
All right, number 8. Number 8 is he asks questions like, do you miss me? Okay. Now this is where he gets tricky, okay? This is the crumbs. This is part of the breadcrumbs right here. And that's because he wants to know where you stand or where he stands with you. He knows where you stand with him. It ain't nowhere good. But he wants to make sure that at any point when he wants to reel in that fishing line, that you're still on the hook. Okay? So he's going to ask things like, do you miss me? Because we're bushy. You know, we feel kind of some type of way. If a man says that, you know, he misses us or do we miss him, we assume that he must miss us too. You know, we read way too much into that. That's just a heat check right there. He wants to know if you're still hot. You're still hot for me. And he's testing it out to see, you know, what he has to do. How many breadcrumbs do I need to give you to make sure that you're still on this trail?
Well, I think just what you just said, the motivation of a breadcrumber is that he wants to receive everything. He wants to get everything on his terms, but he doesn't want to give anything except for the little bit to keep you on the hook.
Yep. Give you them crumbs. You ain't even gonna get a whole slice of bread. And finally, okay, number 9 is he will apply pressure, but only when he feels you drifting away from him. Okay, so now if you flip the table on this breadcrumber, okay, you stop calling him for a little while, you stop giving him the attention, you don't send any text messages, and heaven forbid if you ignore one of his text messages. Now he's gonna feel like that heat check then went cold. Okay. So now he has to apply a little pressure. That's when you're going to get big hunks of bread. You're going to get a little bit more. He might tell you he misses you. Yeah. He might try to, somehow sugarcoat something. He might even get you a gift. It's not going to be a good gift. But he might get you a rose, be like, oh, I was thinking about you. He's going to try to give you a little bit of a guilt trip. He's going to do whatever it takes to get you back on that line so he can reel you in whenever he wants to. Yeah. Okay, so to be aware of that. That's a very important fact. If you notice when you start pulling away, he starts applying a little bit of pressure. That's a telltale sign of what's going on right there.
Yeah, every man has an internal clock, and that internal clock is kind of similar to a woman's intuition, but that internal clock is, how long can I keep her on the hook? And let me recognize the signs when it seems like she's drifting away from me. Mm-hmm. And so a woman will, stop the communication and text. He'll text her, and maybe she won't text back as quickly as she normally would. Oh, hey, babe, whatever. She'll take an hour and text back, or maybe she won't text back at all. But whatever that is, he's noting it in his head, and then that's when he begins to feel that you're drifting away. Yeah, he's going to give a little bit more. Those breadcrumbs are going to become some substantial pieces. But it's all in the effort to keep you on the hook, not to have a relationship.
And that's important. That's a very important point, is that it's not because I think sometimes that's what we think. We're like, oh, well, he must really know he's about to lose me. He can't stand to lose me. So he's putting in some extra effort. And I'm telling you, that is so easy to fall for, because he's going to do a lot of little things. The sex might even get better. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna pull out all the stops, all the things you like.
The sex will get better?
He's gonna give it to her better. He's gonna show a little more effort, and then
that's selfish, huh?
And then it's gonna go right back to the plain old regular stuff you had before. But if he can do enough to keep you on the hook, keep you calling, keep you interested, that's what he wants to do. So that's the breadcrumbs. Okay. That's what it is. My last thing I want to wrap up with, and I'll kind of kick this over to you because, you're the man. You're going to give us a male perspective. But why? Bottom line, why are breadcrumbers breadcrumbers?
Why are breadcrumbers breadcrumbers? That's a hard question to answer. But I would say that some of it is ego. Some men want to have the notches on their belt. They want to have the conquest going. And so as many women as they can get, as many women as they can play, that's what they want to do, because it's a game. You got to keep in mind that, there are 3 stages to a man. First, you got the boy stage. Then you got first you got the male stage. He wants to satisfy his biology. Then you got the boy stage. Boys play with toys. They play games, and that's where the breadcrumbery is in that stage. And then finally, you God willing, you'll get him to that final stage where he's responsible. He's looking to be responsible for each and every person in his life. And so, breadcrumber, boy stage, playing games. That's where he's at, and that's what he's gonna do.
So he's a narcissist.
That's basically. Well, that's a one-word way of saying what I just said. Yes, thank you.
So that's one. I'm gonna go ahead and call the spade a spade. I think I got 2 actually. 2 things that I know are generally the traits of a breadcrumber is that they're either married or they have you in a rotation of women. And that kind of speaks to what you're saying, in that, they want to play around with as many toys as they can.
Yeah.
I think when they're married, they don't have the time to commit to you. And so they're going to breadcrumb you just to keep you around because you're giving them good physical satisfaction or whatever it is. So they're going to breadcrumb. Or if they have you in a rotation, They don't have, I mean, they only got so much bread, so they got to spread it around. They got to crumb it up and spread it around. They got to feed all of y'all. So, you know, don't let that be you. You know, if you find you getting breadcrumbs, you find somebody who will give you a whole loaf, girl. A whole loaf. That's all I got to say about breadcrumbing. If you guys have experience with this, please share your comments. Please like if you want to hear more videos like this. Share, subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later.
Bye.